What's up, you wonderful folks? This is Alex of Swamp Rat Fishing, and today we're gonna go over Wacky Rig versus Texas Rig. I did this poll on my Instagram on which one people prefer, and it was really close, almost a dead tie. So I figured we talk about real quick on how to rig them up, and then kind of the pros and cons of each technique. So let's just jump right into it. All right, so we have the Wacky Rig and the Texas Rig. These are two really common ways to rig a stick bait, a Senko style bait. The Texas Rig, you can rig other types of baits too. Creature baits, craws, things like that. Some people wacky rig some weird stuff too. But primarily in this one, we're going to be talking about rigging up Senko style stick baits. So again, these are like super simple, usually some of the most basic setups that you first start. But what makes each one good? All right, to start, take our stick bait. We're going to be doing the Texas Rig. You're going to go through the nose, come out the end, flip it around, up onto the head. You can text pose that. So that's the Texas Rig. You can also add a weight to it, or you can fish it just how this is. This is on a 3/0 EWG hook, but you could put a bullet weight onto the front of it, and then you could either peg or unpeg that weight. So that's a simple Texas Rig. All right, Wacky Rig, same stick bait. All you're gonna do is you're gonna take your finesse hook and run it through the middle. It's gonna look like that. And then you could also do that weighted too. Little spoiler alert, that's the way I like to fish a Wacky Rig. This is on a little 1/8 ounce Wacky jig. Do the little flick shake action. All right, let's talk about the Texas Rig. First up, let's talk about its profile in the water when you have it rigged up. When you have this thing rigged up, Texas rigged, it's gonna kind of flutter down, almost like a glide. And then you add a weight to it, a bullet weight to it. Weight's gonna drop down, and it's just gonna kind of make this thing meet towards kind of where that weight is. But the big thing is you're gonna have a gliding profile as it goes down. The Texas Rig is honestly great to fish everywhere. It's super weedless. If you text pose that hook into the body of the bait, you can fish it tons of places, in cover, on ledges, everywhere. It's really, really versatile. Again, usually this is like people's first kind of entry point into soft plastics for bass. So it's just a stand-up technique. So how to work this thing is you're gonna cast it out, to your point. You're gonna let it sink. You gotta remember, you gotta work it slow. Usually a lot of people who don't have success with a Texas rigged worm, it's usually because they're working it too fast. You gotta give it time to be able to get that glide action all the way down. Again, great bait. A word on the hook set. Hook sets, you're gonna wanna reel down once you feel that bite, feel that weight, and you're gonna wanna set it into them. You don't have to cross their eyes like you would with a jig, but you definitely wanna give some force to make sure that you can drive that EWG hook home. So again, Texas Rig, you're gonna glide. It's weedless. You can fish it weighted or unweighted. All right, the Wacky Rig. All right, so we talked about profile in the Texas Rig. Let's talk about what this profile is gonna look like. So weighted or unweighted, the whole time it's gonna fall straight down, and you're gonna get this undulating. Ooh, I love that word, undulating. You're gonna get that undulating action. And if you fish it weighted, you're gonna get even more. It's gonna kind of pop like that as it goes down. Obviously slower, but it's gonna pop as it goes down, and you work it up and down, up and down. And where are you gonna fish this thing? Kind of similar to the Texas Rig. You can fish it anywhere. I think it excels at some spots better than the Texas Rig. So like under docks, anything where you're gonna want that vertical presentation instead of the glide. I think the Wacky Rig is better. One thing to note though, it is definitely not as weedless as a Texas Rig. They do have hooks that have a little keeper on them. I still don't find that works very well. You're gonna want some more open water. You can have some submerged grass. You just gotta be really careful. Make sure you're feeling to where you're popping this thing on top of that submerged grass so you don't get a bunch of gunk on the hook. And the hook set for this one, you can set it just like you would with the Texas Rig, or you can just kind of reel down and sweep set into them. And that should be able to drive. You're gonna use a smaller hook, so you don't need as much force to really drive that hook home. But Wacky Rig, Great rig. I think it gives a different look for sure than with that Texas rig. No gliding on this one. More of a vertical wobble, undulate. You guys tell me which word you like better. All right, so we've talked about both techniques. Now, my opinion, which one's better? Well, I'm not going to put a hard stance on either one. I think they're both really great techniques. They both have their uses. They both have their times when one's going to shine more than the other. Me personally, I throw the weighted wacky, the flick shake, more than I throw the Texas. I find there's better baits for grass, but listen, you can throw either one of these. They're both excellent techniques. And they're both like fish catching machines. You're going to get size with these and you're going to get numbers. Especially that wacky, you're going to get a lot of numbers. That's definitely a numbers bait for sure. So if you guys like this, definitely like and subscribe. And then also, in about 2 weeks, I'm going to have a Budget Angling 101 series. This is going to be episode 3, and we're going to cover stick baits. So you're going to see a lot more of some Texas rig, some wacky rig, and some variations of the two.